Isn't life wonderful? Oh, good morning. Well, welcome to Cooking with Nina Bean. I was just taking some time out to smell the roses and drink a great cup of coffee. Well, if you're not doing anything and you've got a few seconds, we're going to be cooking the Italian frittata this morning. So, come on into my kitchen. Cooking with Nina Bean show. Nina Bean, you might ask. Well, who can compete with names like Rachel Ray, Bobby Flay, Emeril Lagasse? So, you know, Janine Hunter just didn't do it. So I thought I would take a good nickname that a friend gave to me, Nina Bean, and here we are. We've got everything that we need. I went to the store, and all good chefs then wash the things that they're going to use. Today we're going to be using eggs, 5 eggs, a little bit of cheese. Everybody loves Wisconsin cheese. It's shown in my middle, I'll tell you that much. Zucchini, a little bit of tomato as a garnish. I'm going to add jalapeno pepper because I like things a little spicy. You don't have to do this if you don't like hot foods, but that's one of the things that I'm going to do. A little avocado to garnish, and some Parmesan cheese, of course, because we're talking an Italian dish. So let's get started. The first thing that we want to do is to take our eggs, and we're going to crack the eggs. Be careful not to get the shell in. We're going to crack the eggs, and we're going to use, like I said, 5 for this particular fritta. Or fritta. It's called fritta, the Italian fritta. Now, I promise you that every week from now on, we're going to have a special guest on this show, or a very surprise special guest is going to join us. Oops, someone's calling. You don't usually see this on syndicated programs too, so we're just going to have to let that go. But anyway, so what we want to do is to take our eggs, and then we want to get those mixed up real nice. Get them all kind of beat up nice. You don't need a blender for this by any means. All you need to do is get them mix and a mix and a mix and a mix. Okay, and as we get that going, you can see I have a cup of coffee here because it really is morning while I'm doing this. And, oh, let's get back to my special guests. Yes, I promised you special guests, and these special guests are pretty much going to be other teachers at Arrowhead High School. And speaking of Arrowhead, if you notice, I was in my Arrowhead garb when I rode in on my scooter. I'm in my Arrowhead shirt at this time right now. The color's Arrowhead because it is homecoming week, and we want to congratulate the boys on their win last night. Very good. So congratulations, boys. Okay, now we got the eggs. Whoops, we got the eggs all mixed up like that really well. And okay, now the next thing that we're going to do is we've got to get a pan out here, and this pan should not be a Teflon pan because it needs to be an oven-safe pan. So this is going to have to go into the oven later on. And besides, there's bad news out on Teflon lately. I don't know. They're telling us that we shouldn't cook with it because the chemicals that come out of it and get mixed in your food. I mean, it's just a sad story. But, you know, the other point is that, you know, I mean, we eat a lot of things, we're around a lot of things that, you know, are not so good for us anyway. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to live to be 100, I'm sure of it. And so it really doesn't matter what the heck is in the pan. But I'm suggesting no Teflon for this because you're going to put it in the oven, and that would not be a good thing. Now we want to fill this pan with some olive oil here. And what I did was I brought the extra light. This is the extra light virgin olive oil because I said, you know, I don't know if it's an age thing or whatever, but, you know, my middle is not getting any smaller these days. And so whatever I can do to help that out. Now, you can kind of like feel it out, you know, how much olive oil that you need. I'm going to put the recipe on here for you later on. The recipe here calls for actually 1 tablespoon of olive oil. All right, now I put a little bit more in that, but I'm using the light stuff, and I want to make sure that my eggs do not stick to the bottom of the pan. Because, you know, if you're not using Teflon, you know, eggs can get sticky, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on too. All right, so we get that in there. Now the next thing we want is some garlic. And if you watch Emeril Lagasse, garlic is in everything. And I believe in this 100%, wholly, truly 100%. Garlic is the key to cooking, to any kind of cooking. Now, I don't use the fresh garlic. I don't mind just buying the garlic, you know, that's already minced up. You can get it. And I think that this works really, really well, and it gives you the same flavor. Hey, thank God my cameraman shows up. Larry, you're late. You know, I had to start this without you. You know how I am about my students being late, Larry. Don't even get me going on this business about commitment and showing up on time, because I am telling you right now, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Well, all right, let's get back to the cooking, you know, because I cook to relieve my stress. And let me tell you, this is one of the most, Larry, I can't even believe it, but at least we can get some close-ups now. Thanks a lot, Larry. Thanks for showing up. All right, now, we were putting the olive oil in the pan, and the next thing, oh yeah, was with the garlic. We're going to put some garlic in. Now, this recipe calls for 1 clove of fresh garlic, but as I said, I don't mind using this garlic, and I go a little bit more than a clove because, like I said, I love that flavor of garlic. I'm the kind of cook that will just, you know, throw in here, throw in there. Stay with me. I will give you the measurements if you're, you know, a little bit anal about that stuff and you need to know exactly what's what going on. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get this garlic going over here. So we're going to put it on the stove. And we're going to put it first a little bit on low here. We don't want to put it on, we don't want to get it up like too high, because then the garlic starts popping and snapping all over the place and makes a mess. Okay, in the meantime now, we want to cut up the stuff that's going to go in there. I've already got my zucchini cut up, as you can see. It's calling for about a cup of zucchini and fresh asparagus. Went to the store to get that. And we only want the tops of the asparagus now. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut that up nice. You don't want the chunks too big because, you know, people are going to chew this and, you know, especially if you're feeding it to somebody who's old and doesn't have teeth. I don't know, you know. I'm just kidding. I'm teasing, really. I'm teasing. But, you know, you want to make sure that it gets chopped up. So you use a really sharp knife. Now, I went to the Wisconsin State Fair and got this knife. And the guy gave me a whole set. It was quite a deal for 20 bucks. But this little knife is sharp, let me tell you. So be careful, because we don't want any fingers in our omelet either as well. That doesn't taste very well. If you're seeing a little bit of a red juice all over your asparagus, be careful about that, all right? That's not a good thing. And this is the part if you're going to have the kids help you make the omelet in the morning, or the frita, excuse me, the frita. The kids are, what the heck? Excuse me. We got to pause this, Larry, for the intrusion. You know, dogs, you got dogs, you can't control dogs. Dogs are dogs. They're going to be dogs. All right, anyway, we got the garlic going now. You can smell it. Oh, you can't smell it. I smell it. It smells delicious. They should have, like Emerald says, smell-o-vision. Smell-o-vision would really make you want to eat this. I'm telling you. I mean, sometimes it's, you know, good enough what you see, what you look at, but man, you gotta smell the stuff. Okay, so I can smell the garlic. It's getting ready. It's getting nice and brown. And the next thing that we want to do is we want to put the onion in, and that is a secret to cooking as well. You always need to get your garlic and your onion in the pan and get that cooking and get the flavors going. Get those flavors going. Oh, we should have Vision too, and so you could hear the sizzling and you know, because you know, cooking is really, I mean, you really need to be here live. There's just no thing about it. Larry, right? Would you say that, Larry? Yeah, Larry's agreeing with me right now. Larry doesn't really say much. That's why I made him my cameraman, you know, so that he you know, doesn't interrupt with the show and, you know, take away the limelight from me, so to speak. All right, so we've got our vegetables all pretty much cut up. We're going to put, what we're putting in here is we're going to put some zucchini, like I said, some asparagus, and mushroom. Larry, what do you think? Does that look beautiful or what? And you want your vegetables to be fresh, and you got to remember that whenever you're eating green vegetables, the green in the vegetables is what makes us healthy, you know? And we have to have enough of that, you know, and then that helps us with our bowel movements and things like that. And so it's really important to, I know I probably shouldn't be talking about that kind of stuff while I'm cooking, but you know, I mean, really, seriously, the food, we are what we eat, and you know, well, anyway, okay, I'm going to get off that subject now because, you know, I don't really know what I have to say about it, really. All right, so we've got all this ready now. We've got our eggs, they're beaten up and everything like that. We're getting ready to put the mushrooms in, and I'm telling you, this is going to be delicious. This is going to be absolutely delicious. I'm going to share this with my parrots later on. Did I tell you I have parrots? No, well, I do. Parrots love people food. So parrots also love green vegetables, and green vegetables are good for parrots as well. So the next thing we want to put in is we got these sizzling up here, and we got to get it stirred up nice. get it going. And we want the onions actually to get translucent. That means so that you can kind of like almost see through them. Okay, if you don't know what that word translucent means. I also teach English, so we're going to have a little bit of a vocabulary 101 while we're cooking. Okay, here we go. Okay, Larry, keep that camera on the upper half here. We don't want to look at the middle. The middle has been a problem lately. I don't know what's happening, as I said before. All right, we're going to take the asparagus and the zucchini, because that's going to take a little longer to cook than the mushrooms. We just transfer those over, and oh, did I tell you, not only do we wash our vegetables before we start cooking, but we wash our hands. Very important. You know that most diseases, you know, when people tell me that I should shake my students' hands regularly, I say, that's a no-no. Because, you know, that's how colds are transmitted, and that's why people are sick all the time. And by the way, if your kids are really sick, keep them home. Keep them home from school. It's not a good thing to be sending them, you know, sneezing and snotting all over everybody. Oh, we're cooking. I shouldn't be talking about that stuff. I get a little carried away sometimes. I'm sorry. All right, so we've got this cooking now. Mixing it all up here. Oh, you got to see this. You got to see this. I'm going to take this off the stove. You got to see what that looks like now. Can you see it? You got a good shot of that? Looks delicious, doesn't it? And we're going to add a little tomato later for color. Yeah. All right, so as this is cooking nice, and you notice that I've got it on kind of a medium heat. You know, you don't want to be one of those cooks that is cooking stuff on high and it's, you know, going everywhere all over the place. That makes a mess. And usually while I'm cooking, I'm cleaning up at the same time I'm cooking, so that when it's all over, said and done with, and you sit down and you eat your meal, you know, you can just eat, and you don't have to worry about the big cleanup stuff. You know, because the cleanup is a pain in the butt, I think. Oh, okay, now I just wiped my nose with my hand. It's really important that I go right over here to the sink and we wash up. We got to make sure we wash up. That was an accident. I don't usually do that when I'm cooking, but I don't know, you know, I'm having a little drippage today. I don't know. I don't have a cold or anything like that, so don't worry about it. And Larry's going to be tasting this wonderful food in a little bit. So Larry, see, I just washed my hands. You have nothing to worry about. All right, things are getting all cooked up nice. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to, I said I wanted to add a little jalapeno. Larry, are you good with jalapeno, little hot stuff? Yeah, okay, so I'm going to do that. You want to make sure, like, if you're having guests over, that you ask, you know, how they feel about that, because you don't want to put, you know, you don't want them burning their little lips off. You know, that's really not fair to put hot stuff in food and not tell people about it. It's just not fair. Some of them react very violently to hot foods, and you know, you could end up with the mess all over your plate if you aren't careful. Now, the thing about jalapeno is you want to slit it down the side here like this, and you want to make sure that you get rid of all the seeds, because the seeds are what are really hot. I mean, sometimes unbearably hot. So you don't want the seeds to go into the dish. Okay, so we're going to get rid of all those seeds, and we're going to cut that up. I'm telling you, this little knife is a treasure. And if I could, you know, if the show out, see, oh boy, is it a treasure. Whoa, ho, ho. Okay, we're in a little trouble here. Now look, see what happens when you're not careful? All right, we're back over to the sink again because we have just like sliced our fingers off. That's not good. That's not good. I mean, Larry, we might have to pause for a Band-Aid. Let me check it out. Let me see if it's going to stop on its own. Whoa! Okay. It looks like it's okay. We don't have to worry. It wasn't a deep cut or anything like that, but this is what I'm telling you. You've got to be careful. This knife is a treasure, but it is sharp. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. It was the best buy I ever had it at the State Fair. So I'm going to put just a little bit of jalapeno in there just to spice it up a little bit because we like. Now it's time for the mushrooms. Get the mushrooms in. Okay, and the mushrooms go last because mushrooms don't take long to cook at all. And we stir those up. And now we're getting ready to pour the, Larry, I think I'm still bleeding. Okay, we're going to have to pause for a minute while I get a Band-Aid. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. Had to get a little Band-Aid. It happens to the best of chefs. So, you know, don't worry if it happens to you. It happens to the best of us. And I know it happens on those syndicated television shows as well. Don't let anybody tell you it doesn't. They just cover it up, they edit it, whatever. We're not editing here. We're laying it out. I am all about the truth. Okay, here we go. We've got the eggs now. Here are the eggs, and we're going to take the eggs and we're going to pour the eggs over all these wonderful vegetables like this, okay? Now the eggs are what give us the protein that we need, and we know that our bodies... Now we're going to watch, Larry, can you get this? I don't know if you can get this, Larry, or not. But we're going to be shifting the eggs around like this, lifting and shifting, because we got to lift the pan, shift the pan a little bit like this while it's on the stove, because we don't want the eggs to stick at the bottom, okay? So we're going to get our little spatula here. Make sure, because we're not working with Teflon, remember, you know, Teflon keeps things from sticking. We want this to be on a low heat, and we just want to be shifting the eggs around while they're cooking so that they don't stick. And that's why I use, personally, a little bit of extra olive oil, and I also use the light olive oil, you know, because we want to stay away from, you know, adding to that tummy area anymore that we already have. Yeah, I don't know. Something about turning 50, it's downhill from there. I don't know. All right, so we're getting a little stickiness. I'm sure hoping that this frita turns out, because, boy, well, you know, you can just experiment at home. If it doesn't, I'm sure it will. But I think things are going to be just fine here. Yeah. All right, so we got to let that cook. Now, while we're letting that cook, and I'm shifting a little bit, shifting it, keeping it moving here. Okay, we're going to leave that sit, and we got to add the Parmesan cheese. So we're going to take, now this calls for about a cup of Parmesan cheese. It's the shredded Parmesan, not the grated Parmesan, and this is going to add the Italian flavor. We're going to put that over the top of the frita. Okay, you're going to get that all mixed in real nice, and that's going to melt nice for us. Okay, and the next thing that we want to do is get our garnish cut up here. Now I'm going to use a different knife, not so sharp this time, because, you know, I can't afford to lose another limb at this point. We need the limbs to finish the show. Okay, and we want to also come back next week, so we want to make sure that everything's okay. So we're going to cut, and we're going to make a little garnish here for this, because, you know, there's nothing, you want your food to look nice. You want it presentable, you want it to look appetizing. So we're going to just cut like little strips of tomato here that we're going to end up putting around the top of our frita in the end. And if you don't like tomato, you know, you can always take the tomato off. You don't need to eat the tomato if you don't like tomato. There are a lot of people who don't like tomato. I don't understand that. I'm big on tomatoes. I love tomatoes, and I also know that tomatoes are good for me. All right, so I'm really into, you know, staying healthy. If I'm going to be around to be 100, I still want to be golfing. And biking, too. I can bike, too, a little bit. That'd be good. Okay, let's check our frita over here. We got the cheese starting to melt in there nice. We got to spin it a little bit. Okay, we want to make sure it's getting cooked through. And the next thing we're going to do is we got to turn on our broiler. Okay, so we're going to turn on the broiler and get that on up there, and then everybody should see, mine just says broil. So I just hit broil there, and that tells me that we're on broil, okay? Now, we're going to take some cheddar cheese, and we're going to put some cheddar cheese over the top of this nice frita, okay? Because, you know, that's going to make it. And this is why they were calling for a pan that, you know, needed to be oven safe. And we're going to take the frita. Let's show what it looks like, Larry. Here, we got a nice look at the frita before it goes in. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. And then we got to get this, we got to get your thing up here, your grate up to the highest part, because the broiler is on top. I'll tell you that. Okay, and we're going to stick this right under the broiler there for just a couple of minutes. That's it. Now, in the meantime, we're going to cut avocado up, too, because we want to garnish with some avocado. So let's move our little tomato strips over. Here's the best way to cut an avocado, okay? You just come around the skin like this with this very, very sharp knife. Go around in a circle. I'm watching now. If I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at my fingers because I almost lost one, and we can't afford to lose another one. All right, so, and we come around like this, too. You see? You see, this is an old secret from my... oh, geez, this avocado is really ripe because it's falling apart. You know, I don't really have to do much. Look at that. That seed fell right out. All right, we don't want to eat the nut. Nut's not good to eat. And then we just simply are going to use this little knife to peel the avocado out. You know, just cut it out. Keep it in nice little strips like this. Here we go. Here we go. Yep, there we go. And I'm only going to do a couple of these, all right, because we don't have time. We want to make sure that we get this all in. And again, if you don't like avocado, you don't have to do this. If you're just making this for breakfast and you're not worried about, you know, display, like I said, this is simply for display, okay? And we're going to slit these in half. Slit these in half, okay, very nicely. Here we go. Okay, and we should almost be ready to go. Now, because this is under the broiler, I'm going to get a hot pad because I've already cut my finger. I don't need to burn my finger either, I mean, the show may not return next week if I'm going at this pace, so I have to start being careful, paying attention to safety. Safety's key here. All right. We need to turn the stovetop off. Let's take a little look here. Let's check. Oh, it's steaming. It's steaming. It's stuck. Oh boy, this looks good. All right. Yes. This looks just delicious. Okay. So here's the end result, what it looks like when it comes out of the broiler. What do you think, Larry? Looking good, Larry? Mm-hmm. Larry's ready to eat. We haven't eaten yet this morning, so this is what Larry and I are having. Okay, now here's the problem. I didn't leave a lot of space to work here, but there we go. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take these tomatoes and we're going to put them around. We're going to make like a little flower. Yeah, we're going to make a little flower with autumn coming and the flowers dying. We have to make flowers in the house versus flowers out of the house. We have to bring fresh flowers in. We have to keep the flower in our hearts, because that's important too. That's what makes life what life is. So we're making a cute little flower here, like a little daisy. There we go with the tomato. And then I'm going to take the avocado and I'm going to outline it like that with the avocado. And this is just going to be beautiful. And, like I said, the people who don't like avocado, they don't need to eat the avocado. We could put it out, but it just adds color. And the Italians are a very colorful kind of people. They are colorful people. Trust me. My mama, she's a colorful. Okay, here we go. And this is what your fritta will end up looking like in the end. Isn't that beautiful? Is that beautiful, Larry, or what? Yep. Okay, and this you can serve for breakfast, brunch, dinner, lunch, whatever you feel like. The fritta fits in anywhere. It is healthy. It is good for you. And I'm trusting that you will enjoy it. And look at how much little time it took. Did not take time at all to make this. So this is our first show with Cooking with Nina Bean. And we hope you enjoyed the show. And at the end of each show, I've promised to give a little bit of therapeutic advice to my audience, as I am also a therapist, or was one on the side. And my therapeutic advice for today is, if you are in a relationship where you cannot grow your own corn, it's time to find a new farmer. Have a nice day, and we'll be back next week with my first very, very special guest, my surprise special guest. And as a surprise, I can't tell you who it is, but I think you'll enjoy the show. Have a good evening.